Hellions moving out. Oh, and those swarm hosts all burrow, and oh no. That lone Hellion is just dismantled by the Locust, but we can see just how useful those Locusts are at potentially absorbing siege tank fire.
And you can see that they are beasts. They absorb so much damage and deal so much damage. And there it looks like the Widowmine's trying to step into position. Zergling's trying to pick them off, and the Locusts almost get all of them, but one Widowmine does attach, and it looks like Zerg will have to rearrange, burrow, and we see as that time elapses, Kablooey, it goes down.
Oh, just barely able to pull it out of there. Now, he tried to get a couple extra Locusts, but just wasn't able to get it out in time.
Yeah, you can see that those Widowmines are definitely high risk, high reward. If you get in there and pick off a unit, you feel great, but if you hop in and lose all of them, you just wasted a ton of money.
Ooh, now we just got to see that cute new creep tumor animation. Makes him look all slimy as the creep grows out. Oh man, and now we have all the Battle Hellions trying to get through there, and in come the Locusts, and getting in a few of those hits, but not really able to finish those off. That huge cone of damage from those Battle Hellions is just so massive when you're able to do that slow push into the Zerg army.
Swarm hosts now falling back, and there is the brand new Zerg unit, the Viper. Right now, what they are doing is chewing on their own buildings to regenerate energy. It's a great way to sap the life from units that really won't be taking any from buildings that won't be taking any damage soon. So that way you can get energy to do some of those new abilities that we'll get the chance to see in just a moment. And there's a duct picking up one of the siege tanks and taking it down, but here comes a huge pack of Widowmines.
Oh no, and all the Widowmines are getting in. They may be able to burrow in time. Oh no, the Zerg player is not going to be able to get away from those. And they all latch on, and it's just a matter of time until that army is gone.
And there we see two of the swarm hosts running away. The rest die immediately, and a huge swing of supply.
Oh, yes, that is the carnage that Widowmines can be. As you can see, as long as they're able to get out there and burrow and attach to a target, the reward can be wonderful.
And now we see the slow-moving mech army, the battle mode Hellions with their 45 extra life and their huge radius of damage. Now moving forward with the siege tanks. No Warhounds out on the map, still relying on that classic anti-mutalisk unit, the Thor.
Wow, and now you'll see a slightly different army composition than we have currently in Wings of Liberty. You can see so many Hydralisks out there, and now here they are relatively quickly moving across that ground.
Yeah, the Hydralisks do have a hive tech speed upgrade that should be kicking into action soon if Zerg wants to maintain that effectiveness in the late game. And it looks like some of the Widowmines do attach, but they don't really do that much damage, Rob.
Oh, no, because when you just have a bunch of small, individual, low-cost units, the Widowmines really cannot hit their maximum cost efficiency. And now we see the Terran player pushing up into that third, and it's looking like it's now forced the Zerg player to pull back his army to try to eliminate this threat.
Oh, Terran doing a great job just distracting Zerg. We see another Viper there. We'll have to consume on a building to get enough energy to do a well-timed abduct and pick off some of those Thors or even the siege tanks. They're consumed going again.
Now, consuming in a situation like this can be a little bit risky because the Terran player isn't too far away, so any amount of additional damage done to your buildings can end up hurting you.
Absolutely. I mean, we do see that huge pack of Hydras moving through the middle of the map, and even though there's this destruction going down on this side of the screen, we see in the bottom right, yoink! Just snatches up the Thor. A really nice grab there. And the Zerg player in the bottom right has started to re-expand while there's this attack at the front. Those Battle Hellions have to be very careful. The Hydralisk range and speed is so sick, and we see the Vipers continuing to consume. The Hydra Viper Hive Tech combo is just brutal.
Oh man, just biding their time and getting in there. Oh, and pulling the tanks as they siege, enabling them to get focused fire down from the Zerg player. Now the Zerg player is looking in condition to break through this siege line.
We're seeing some great new Hydralisk death animations as finally the mech beast mode army of Terran is eliminated. And you know, those Vipers worked so well, no reason to stop using them. Did consume a building to death, which is something you always have to be watchful of if you are one of those high APM spammers who closes his eyes.
And now, amidst all the carnage, we can see that the Zerg player has taken advantage and re-expanded the lower right-hand corner and to the area right next to that Xel'Naga watchtower, but the Terran player doesn't like this.
Terran player is going to immediately try to kill that bottom right, might even pick off those collapsible rocks to cover his retreat path. We see those slow Hellions should definitely go into fast Hellion mode if they want to catch those drones, but no, Terran Ops to keep that army nice and tightly packed together does not not want to run the risk of getting caught off guard after losing his whole army to that Viper Hydra combo.
Oh no, and now we've got the Zerg player just scrambling to try to get any semblance of his army down to there. And right now, this base is just so saturated. If those Hellions would make it in there.
Look at the speed of those Hydralisks. They're like rocket ships.
And you can see them just slithering across at lightning speed, now getting down into the Terran's base to try to get a bit of a counterattack, taking down a few of those Battle Hellions. Now, in small numbers, the Battle Hellions will not be able to handle a fight like this, but now we can see the Zerg player getting his ultimate revenge.
Hydra suddenly become an extremely potent harass unit, but they're going to have to head back home soon if they want to re-defend this right side base that looks like it's getting taken down for the second time. Both players in a crazy, crazy series of base exchanges.
That's right. Now we actually have the Terran player both pushing up through the center of the map as he clears off what few threats are at his base. And we also now have him establishing a siege line in the middle, and there are only Hydralisks trying to fight up. Oh, but in comes the Abduct.
Just snatching up those siege tanks one at a time, really knocking down the damage-dealing mixture of that force. No Infestor Broodlord necessary. This mobile early Hive tech force is relatively cheap on the resources, and as you can see, cleans up a mech army quite well.
Oh, and now the Zerg player getting out here, he's going to land down that expansion. And he's also expanded up to the top left corner of the map as well. The Terran player has largely lost his map control at this point in the game. He really doesn't have an active force to be moving around. Oh, and the Hydras once again dealing a bit of damage.
And this is the interesting aspect of these new Hive Tech units. The traditional Zerg players going for Infestor Broodlord, a slow army that has to stick together, meaning the Terran can counterattack, mass expand, and there's not that much Zerg can do. But now, with the speed Hydras, the fast-flying Vipers, Zerg can be in so many different places at once, expanding on opposite corners of the map. It is the true Swarm Zerg.
Right now, oh wow, those Vipers actually look just a little overexposed. Will they be able to get in a couple of those Abducts? No, the Zerg player is now forced into a bit of a retreat, now pulling in one of those tanks. Oh yes, now just as you mentioned before, both the Zerg speed combined with their ability to make their opponent uncomfortable is really just so strong.
And we're seeing another counterattack, just as you're saying, going on at the left expansion while these Hydras are denying the right. I mean, the Hive Tech Zerg is suddenly hyper mobile, and we even see some Ultralisks in production with their new Burrow Charge upgrade. Those tank lines will be busted in no time.
Oh no, those Hellions realize their mistake of engaging. Oh, a couple more tanks pulled directly into that Hydralisk army. And now it seems like the Terran player has been dismantled.
Terran losing that bottom base, we see deciding to go for a counterattack force up at the top left. The mech so much more mobile with this new mixture, allowing those Battle Hellions to lead the charge with their extra boosted health, clean up the front lines. No real fear of Zerglings, Hydralisks, very easy to deal with when those numbers get high, but with those Ultralisks popping out, Rob, I'm starting to get real scared when we see that pack on the mini-map.
Oh man, and if this ends up being the final composition for the Terran player, he could be in some serious trouble. Now here he is still staying aggressive, not willing to give up, but the Ultralisks have arrived.
The Ultralisk with that Burrow Charge upgrade, cannot wait for that to blast down that line of tanks. Going to be extremely effective as it allows the Ultralisk to get right up underneath the tanks and knock all those units back. But still, even if you can take out the mech army, what angle do you go for? He's just going to go straight for the counter.
Why kill the army when I can kill your base? And now we can see the Zerg units are just flying around the map, absolutely destroying the undefended Terran base.
And the mech units look like they're doing the only thing they can, counterattacking along the top side. Not enough time to return back home. The tanks siege up. Hydralisks still in production. Zerg in usual Zerg style, expanding across the entire map. Terran running low on expansions. This attack is the last-ditch effort.
Oh, and in come those Ultras now, bringing them back from across the map. Now that he has a couple additional Vipers in there and those speedy Hydras, he is closing in for the killing blow.
And as he's moving up, he has to position this very carefully. The mech army still extremely good in these large numbers. He's abducting, pulling tanks away from the front lines. There's the Ultralisk charge underneath the ground, allowing them to plow directly up to those tank lines, pulling those last two siege tanks back away, reducing the full damage output. And the Ultra Hydra Viper army, mobile, speedy, can be in so many places at once.
And here comes the Zerg player now, just regathering his forces once again, producing yet another wave of all of those Hydralisks. Oh man, look at the damaged economy.
And there's the Hydralisk, Ultralisk armor. Popping
that
up,
charge.
scaring Rob. And now it looks like ripping apart this front line of units. Hellions do manage to cook some, but there's the good game. Zerg takes victory today. So we hope you got the chance to enjoy this new showcase of strategy and units in Heart of the Swarm. I'm Day 9.
And I'm Rob Simpson. Thanks for watching.